Lately, I've been thinking about how much our environments shape how we feel. Not just how they look, but how they ask something of us the moment we step into them. Some spaces quietly keep us alert, while others let our bodies soften without us even realizing it. I came across a quote on Instagram recently by Helen Marie, and it really stayed with me. She writes, "Your nervous system is only as regulated as the environments you stay in. Choose people who feel safe. Choose spaces where your body can exhale." And I couldn't stop thinking about how true that feels at home. Because our homes are the environments we return to again and again. They're where we recover. They're where we pause. Or where we stay silently on edge without meaning to. To me, an intentional home isn't about perfect aesthetics. It's about creating a space that helps you exhale, recharge, and feel supported, especially when life already feels full. Today, I wanted to share 10 intentional home practices that have genuinely helped me create a home that supports my nervous system, that supports my sensitive energy without draining me. Some of these things I have been doing for a while. They are things that I've already been practicing in my home. And some of the things that I'm going to share with you are things that I continue to work on during this season of my life, things that I want to bring into my day-to-day life, into my home, and things that I want to continue to work on so that I truly have a home that supports me. So the very first intentional home practice is to clarify what's important to you and how you want your home to feel. This could be clarifying home values that you have. It's really important for me to have a home that feels safe, that feels nourishing and calm, and also reflects things that bring me joy and things that I love. I do value beauty. Not the superficial kind, but the kind of beauty that moves me, the kind of beauty that inspires me. So knowing that I want to have a home environment that feels calm, that feels spacious and has good energy, that feels safe, that inspires me. It helps me to know what I want to bring into my home and what I don't, what I want to keep, what I don't want to keep. If something doesn't support how I want to live or the vision that I have for my life, then I know it's time to part with it and let it go. If it's not aligning with my values and the home environment and the way that I want to feel when I'm in my home, then it helps me to make decisions to help me make changes to get me back into alignment with how I want to feel in my space. Intentional home practice number 2 is being very intentional about what you bring into your home. This sort of ties into the last one because once you understand your values and what's important to you, it helps you pare down and edit out things that don't really add any value to your life. So start to look at the things in your home and start to see them as objects or items that carry and demand energy from you. Certain things in your home are going to give you energy, going to bring you joy, they're going to bring you ease and pleasure. And other items are going to quietly, or maybe not so quietly, deplete the energy and the resources that you have. So this is about just being very intentional about the things that you have around your home. So I like to ask myself, does this item support my life? Does it bring me comfort, beauty, or ease? Or does it add more for me to manage? Letting go of items around my home isn't about minimalism. It is about protecting my energy and protecting the things that are important to me and just making space for more of the things that matter. Practice 3. This is about helping you reduce the micro decisions and the friction that you feel in your day-to-day life. I've talked about this in other videos on the channel. Setting up systems in my home that help make things run more smoothly, effectively, and bring me more ease in my day so that I'm not always having to think about where things need to go, or I'm not always having to spend time and energy looking for things or trying to make space for things, because everything has a place. So I don't have to think about decisions about where does this thing go. I already have little systems in place for things that can be problematic. In other videos, I've talked about how I have a catch-all bin just to get things off of the counters and to give me a little bit of time to figure out where things need to go. I've talked about having cleaners and all of the products and supplies that I need to clean bathrooms in each bathroom, or having a basket of things like socks or extras that I find that we're always looking for last minute as, I'm trying to get kids out the door. So I have systems in place so that I'm not having to expend so much time and energy on all of the micro decisions that you have to make within a day. So I really focus on reducing the amount of micro decisions I have to make and reducing the friction in my day-to-day life. So finding areas that are problematic and coming up with tiny systems or solutions to help me manage those so that I'm not expending so much time and energy. This is really helpful for low energy days because then I'm not having to think so much. My home does some of the thinking for me, which matters so much more than you even realize. The next practice is knowing your baseline. I've also talked about this in other videos. Knowing your baseline is having an understanding of what your space can feel like without having to feel this pressure to be Pinterest perfect or having an Instagram level curated home, which can make your home feel overwhelming and draining because you have this level of perfection in maintaining your home. For me, baseline is having clear surfaces. It means minimizing any visual clutter. If there's like coats and boots and shoes about, or there's toys and little knickknacks or anything just kind of laying out and about, I'll set a timer for 15 minutes. I will pick those things up. I'll fix the blanket and put that back on the couch. I make sure all of my flat surfaces are clean, so countertops don't have any crumbs or little sticky gross bits on them. Any flat surfaces like the table or coffee table, those things are tidied off. And then I do a vacuum of my floor. If there are dishes in the sink and I am low on energy that day or I don't have time, it's okay with me. I can handle dishes in my sink. For you, baseline might be having all of the dishes in your sink cleaned up and put away. It's just having an understanding of what baseline looks like so that you can maintain your baseline level of where you feel good, calm, and functional in your space, so that your energy isn't being drained. You have more time to focus on rest or family or connection and the things that matter to you most without striving for the need for everything around you to be perfectly organized and curated, aesthetic. That isn't the goal. That will be very, very taxing on your energy and your nervous system if you're always trying to strive for perfection. So baseline for me is having my home at about 70%, which means 30%, there could be laundry upstairs that isn't folded yet. There could be dishes in the sink. The dishwasher might be full. The floors may need to be mopped, but I can have a calm, functional home and feel safe and feel grounded and feel nurtured in my space and nourished if I have my home at a baseline state. So if I'm having a low energy day or people are sick or whatever the case is, I am not feeling out of control. I know that I just need to get my home back to that baseline level and everything will feel okay again. Practice number 5 is to focus on tiny home resets versus big cleans. One of the things that I've been doing for the last few years is I rely on tiny home resets rather than letting everything pile up to the point that things feel overwhelming. Of course, life happens and things do pile up from time to time, but as a general rule, I do 2 15-minute resets throughout my day to keep my home at baseline. I do one in the morning after the morning rush, getting kids off to school, making breakfast. Things get a little chaotic. I will come home and do a 15-minute reset and get my home back to a baseline state. And then in the evening, when things are a little busy again with dinner and everything else, I will typically do another reset, clean up maybe any lunch dishes that were left out, pick up any other final things. And sometimes before bed, I will do a 5 to 10-minute reset, just doing a final wipe down of any counters or picking anything up. But oftentimes I find with the 2 15-minute resets that I do earlier in the day, by the time the evening rolls around, my house is already still pretty much maintained at baseline at that point. This just helps keep my home from feeling overwhelming and also from me burning out. I find if I pile everything up, I'm not only feeling dysregulated in my space because there's a lot of visual clutter, there's a lot of mess and all of the things. Now I have to find an hour or an hour and a half to clean versus just 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there, which seems a lot easier to do. So by doing this has really helped reduce the amount of things that pile up around my home. And I find that when it comes time for the weekends, I definitely have more time and energy for things that I enjoy doing versus before when I would let things pile up. My weekends were often dedicated to cleaning and getting back on top of the house, managing laundry, cleaning the dishes, cleaning all the bathrooms and doing all of the things. I find having these 15-minute resets has really helped make it easier for my home to stay maintained. Practice 6 is keeping visual clutter low. I know this can be tricky if you have kids or if you live with people, but one thing that I've realized is that visual clutter affects my nervous system much more than I've ever realized. Having empty spaces and areas of spaciousness around my home is so soothing and settling for my brain, and it instantly helps me feel calm and recharged when I can look around and see clean, clear surfaces and spaces. Having too much visual clutter has definitely been one of the biggest, most taxing, draining things on my energy and nervous system because instead of looking around my home and feeling like I could rest, and I could relax, I would see piles of things that often led to me feeling guilty that they were sitting there, or me feeling in the back of my mind a checklist of all of the things that I needed to do that weren't yet handled. All of these things would weigh on my mind, they would deplete my energy, and I could never really truly relax. So keeping the visual clutter to a minimum and having tiny systems in place and doing tiny resets a couple of times a day has really helped me create an intentional home that feels deeply nourishing and makes it feel like a sanctuary. And it makes me just feel so good in my space when I can settle into it and not have all of the visual clutter weighing me down. Practice 7 is supporting your nervous system through your senses. So this is really about honoring your sensory needs. So for me, what that looks like is having texture in my home. So having weighted, cozy, comfy blankets around so that I feel comfortable and safe when I want to relax. These things help me relax. Playing nice, soft, ambient jazz music in the background, making sure that I'm not using any harsh overhead lighting so that things are calm. The mood always feels very ambient. And things like scent, often I diffuse essential oils or I will have low scented candles that I will often burn on my countertops. Anything like that just helps me create an atmosphere that is very supportive for my nervous system and provides relief for some of the sensory needs that I have. I find this to be especially helpful if you have young children. So once the evening comes around, most of the time the lights are very low, the music is softer, the lighting becomes a lot more dim, the temperature in my home becomes warmer, and it just helps everybody's nervous system soften and ease into the transition of nighttime, and to help all of us, not just my kids, but me as well, have a much calmer and more peaceful transition as we prepare to get into restful sleep. Practice 8, and this is one that I intend to really focus on this year, is starting your day in alignment with one of your values. So if one of your values is connection, that could look like sitting in the morning for a few quiet minutes, enjoying tea or breakfast together with your spouse or with your children. If you really value having a routine that helps you slow down, maybe it's having a few quiet minutes with your journal. Maybe it's sipping a coffee, looking out the window, or reading your book. Just even having a few intentional minutes at the start of your day can really help you set the tone for how the rest of your day goes. So really protecting the things that you value and what's important to you, calling those into your life, and then making space for it with just 3 to 5 minutes at the start of your day can be very beneficial for an overtaxed and overwhelmed nervous system and helping you feel much more calm and at ease. The 9th practice is really ending your day with a soft landing or a soft reset so that when you wake up the next morning, you already feel nourished and supported. So that could look like a 5-minute reset before bed, putting dishes in the dishwasher or offloading the dishwasher, maybe having a few things set out and ready so that when you get up in the morning, you're not having to make decisions about what you're going to wear or what you're going to eat, for example. One thing that I like to do is I keep the lighting, again, I've already mentioned this, keeping the lighting very soft at night and having things really slow down to really help your nervous system slow down and transition from the craziness, the chaos of a busy day. And something that I really like to do is before I go to bed, I have all of the lighting very soft. I turn most of the lighting off. I keep like an overhead light above my stove in case anyone gets up for any reason. So when I get up in the morning and I come downstairs, my home feels very inviting. I've typically already cleaned up or I've done a reset the night before, so there's not like a lot of mess or anything around. So when I come downstairs, there's like some lovely jazz music playing, and it just helps get me in the right frame of mind. This practice just helps me be in alignment with how I want to live and how I want my days to feel. So when I wake up in the morning, I'm not starting my day already feeling overwhelmed or feeling super behind and feeling like I've lost control before the day has even begun. Having a practice like this is really an act of self-care and an act of self-care for me today and also for future me, looking out for who I'm going to be in the morning, how I want to feel the next day, and really protecting that wherever I can. And the final practice, practice 10, is protecting one calm corner in your home or one calm space. If possible, have one space in your home that feels calm, a place where you can go and rest and recharge and feel safe, and have your nervous system really settle into a place of safety and healing without feeling guilt or overwhelm if the rest of the house is chaos. This is a space that your nervous system trusts. I know that many of you have written to me and have left comments about how difficult it can be to live with partners or people who don't have a good handle or control over their clutter and their hoarding. And this can be very, very draining for you and can really eat up a lot of your energy and patience and joy and really chip away at some of the things that you value. So one of the things that might help you here is to have a space in your home that is protected, that is your space, your sanctuary, your place for calm, where your nervous system can settle in, you can relax, you can feel at ease, and you can feel some of the values that you want to have for your home in this space. And let people know that this is your space. They can make a mess. They can have their things wherever they want in your home, but this space is yours. So that whenever you're feeling overwhelmed or depleted or sad or angry or frustrated or whatever you're feeling, and you just need a space to relax, to recharge, or to pause, you need breathing room. This is your space, your corner that you can go to that reminds you that it is okay to rest. If you don't have a space in your home where you can do this, it could be even a bedside table, like your side of the bed. That is your space where you go, you sink into, you relax, and it is in complete alignment with your values and how you want to live. If you value beauty and spaciousness and calm and you don't want clutter, all of those things exist here. You have that for yourself in this space. It's a space for you that feels simple and triggers rest and relaxation and safety for your nervous system. So some of you know this. I have talked about this on the channel before. I'm coming out of a marriage, a 17-year relationship, and this has been a huge time for healing and transition and all of the things. And for the first time ever, I've really been able to create a space that feels intentional and that really truly supports me and aligns with the values that I have and how I want to live and how I want to feel in my days. And that's why these practices are so important for me, because they support my healing. The other day, my son said to me, "Mom, I love our new home." And I said, "Why?" And he said, "Because it feels so calm here." That was like music to my ears. It just warmed my heart so much to know that I can create this for my children. They can have a place that feels calm and nourishing for them and their nervous systems too. It's also supporting their healing on this journey. We've been through a lot over the past few years. We need a place that can hold our nervous systems, that can hold this transition, that can hold our grief, and all of the things that come with this kind of healing. So your home isn't going to fix everything. It's not going to fix all of your problems, but it gives your body and your mind somewhere safe to land when things in life do get chaotic. And sometimes that is the most important gift we can give ourselves and that we can do for our healing. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again next week.